Emma Clark had woken up that morning feeling the usual mix of excitement and nervousness that came with her busy work schedule. Today was important. She had a crucial meeting with clients she had been preparing for all week. She sipped her coffee, glanced at the time, and decided it was best to leave early to avoid any unexpected delays. But as she started her car, a strange vibration caught her attention. The engine sounded off, a subtle but noticeable irregularity that made her frown. Worrying that the problem might worsen, Emma decided to stop by the local garage she had passed many times but never entered. The sun was bright, the air smelled faintly of oil and exhaust fumes, and the street had the comforting hum of early morning traffic. She parked and stepped out, smoothing the crease in her blazer. Sophie Bennett, her friend who often accompanied her on errands, smiled and offered a reassuring, "Don't worry, it'll be fine. Let's just see what's wrong." Inside the garage, Emma immediately noticed the casual bustle of activity. A few cars were lined up, some lifted, some being cleaned or repaired. The smell of motor oil mixed with the faint scent of warm asphalt created an oddly grounding feeling. Two men caught her attention immediately. One was working on a car near the entrance, Liam Harper, as she would later learn. His hands were covered in grease, but his eyes twinkled when he glanced her way. The other man, Malik Davis, leaned casually against the counter, his posture relaxed and confident, a small smile playing on his lips. Sophie nudged her lightly, whispering, "Go on, check them out," though clearly teasing. Emma approached cautiously, giving a polite smile. "Hi, I think my car might be having some trouble," she said, trying to sound calm and collected. Liam looked up from the car he was repairing, wiping his hands with a rag. "Let me take a look," he said warmly, his voice easy and welcoming. As he bent over the engine, he glanced at Emma again, and for a brief moment, their eyes met. She felt a slight shiver of anticipation, a flicker of curiosity she hadn't expected. While Liam focused on the engine, Emma found herself sitting nearby, chatting lightly with Malik. He joked about the early morning rush, the unpredictability of car engines, and the quirks of life that made ordinary days interesting. During a casual gesture, Liam reached out, lightly brushing Emma's hand. She froze for a second, then realized she didn't pull back. There was a strange thrill in the small contact, a spark that made her pulse quicken. It was playful, innocent, and yet it carried an undertone of something more, a hint of attention she hadn't realized she craved. Malik noticed the interaction and smiled knowingly, though subtly. When he leaned closer to comment on the car, his hand accidentally grazed hers in a similar manner. Emma laughed lightly, feeling a mix of embarrassment and delight. Both men had a charm that was different but equally appealing. Liam's easygoing warmth and Malik's confident wit created a tension that was thrilling in its subtlety. Emma's mind raced, trying to reconcile her professional self with the curious, playful side that had emerged unexpectedly. As Liam straightened and stepped back from the car, he offered a hand to Emma. "Looks like everything is in good shape now," he said, his eyes lingering just a moment longer than necessary. Emma smiled, feeling the same warmth that had been building since she arrived. Malik added with a grin, "And we didn't even charge you for the advice. Consider it a bonus." She laughed, the sound light and genuine, feeling a flicker of exhilaration in the seemingly mundane setting. By the time Sophie was nudging her again, signaling that they should leave before the meeting, Emma had made a decision. She pulled out her phone, hesitated briefly, then typed a quick message with her number. She handed it first to Liam, who raised an eyebrow in mock surprise but smiled, tucking it into his pocket. Then she repeated the gesture with Malik, whose smile broadened in genuine appreciation. There was no grand declaration, no dramatic words, just a simple exchange that carried the weight of unspoken possibilities. As they walked out of the garage, Emma's thoughts swirled with curiosity and anticipation. The air outside felt fresher, almost electric, compared to the garage's warm, bustling interior. She glanced at Sophie, who gave her a knowing look, teasing without judgment. "Well," Sophie said lightly, "looks like someone found themselves a little excitement this morning." Emma laughed softly, shaking her head. "It's nothing," she replied, though even she didn't fully believe her own words. Driving away, Emma felt a strange mixture of emotions. Her car hummed steadily now, the earlier vibrations gone, but her mind was far from calm. She thought about the fleeting touches, the playful smiles, and the subtle flirtations that had made the ordinary task of car repair unexpectedly thrilling. It was a reminder of how unpredictable life could be, how moments of curiosity and daring could appear in the most unexpected places. And even though her meeting awaited her, she couldn't help but feel a spark of excitement that lingered longer than the morning sun. By the time she reached her office, Emma's focus was divided between the agenda of the meeting and the memory of the garage. The interactions were light, innocent on the surface, yet they carried a weight she wasn't ready to ignore. She had stepped into a simple situation, car trouble, and emerged with something far more complex, the subtle thrill of attention, the dance of flirtation, and the curiosity of what might come next. And as she prepared her notes and took a deep breath before entering the conference room, a small, private smile played across her lips. The next morning, Ethan woke to the soft glow of sunlight filtering through the curtains. He stretched and yawned, feeling both rested and slightly anxious about what the day might bring. Vanessa had already started preparing breakfast when he stepped into the kitchen. The smell of fresh bread and brewed coffee filled the room, making the space feel even warmer and more inviting. "Good morning, Ethan," Vanessa said with a smile, her voice calm and comforting. "Sleep well?" "Yes, thank you," he replied, returning her smile, a little shyly. He noticed the gentle way she moved around the kitchen, the ease with which she handled the pans and dishes, and couldn't help but admire her grace. Vanessa caught his gaze and looked away quickly, a faint blush coloring her cheeks, as though she, too, felt the subtle electricity that lingered between them. Breakfast was a quiet, comfortable affair. They shared stories of their childhoods, their hobbies, and their dreams. Ethan laughed more freely than he had the day before, encouraged by Vanessa's easy warmth. Vanessa, in turn, found herself fascinated by his curiosity, the way he noticed small details, and the earnest way he asked questions. Each passing moment seemed to draw them closer, their conversations weaving a delicate thread of connection. After breakfast, Vanessa suggested showing Ethan the town. "There are a few places you might like to see," she said. "The park, the library, and the little market down the street." Ethan agreed eagerly, and they set out together. The walk was leisurely, giving them the chance to talk and share quiet smiles. Sometimes their hands brushed against each other by accident, sending small shocks of awareness through them both. Each touch lingered just a moment too long, yet neither said anything. At the park, Ethan watched Vanessa interact with people they passed, neighbors, shopkeepers, and even a few children. Her kindness and confidence impressed him, and he felt a mixture of admiration and a strange, unfamiliar longing. Vanessa noticed his gaze and felt her own pulse quicken slightly, aware of the subtle attraction growing between them. She told herself it was nothing, just the natural warmth of companionship, yet she couldn't ignore the way her thoughts lingered on him after each shared smile or word. In the late afternoon, rain began to fall softly, sending them both running for shelter under the awning of a small cafe. Inside, they ordered hot drinks and found a quiet corner, the cozy atmosphere amplifying the closeness they already felt. The sound of rain tapping against the windows created a rhythmic backdrop, almost like a heartbeat that matched the tension in the room. They sat side by side, their knees occasionally brushing, a warmth spreading through them that neither fully understood. Vanessa suggested they play a board game she kept on a nearby shelf, just to pass the time. Ethan agreed, and as they played, their laughter filled the room. Occasionally, Vanessa would reach across the board to move a piece, their hands briefly touching. Each touch sent a small jolt of awareness through both of them, and the room seemed charged with a quiet energy. Ethan's eyes met hers, and for a moment, time seemed to slow. He wanted to say something, anything, to acknowledge the feeling, but words failed him. Vanessa felt the same hesitation, caught between restraint and desire. As the rain slowed, they returned home, dripping slightly from the remaining drops. Vanessa suggested drying off with warm towels, and the simple act of helping each other brought a new closeness. Ethan's hand brushed Vanessa's as she handed him a towel, and they both lingered just a second too long, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. The small gestures, the shared smiles, and the easy comfort of one another's presence had woven a tension that neither could deny. Evening came, and they found themselves in the living room once more, sitting near the fireplace. The flames flickered, casting shadows on the walls, and the warmth of the fire seemed to echo the warmth growing between them. Vanessa offered Ethan a blanket, draping it over his shoulders, and their fingers brushed as she adjusted it. Both of them felt the jolt of electricity, a mix of curiosity and desire that neither wanted to name out loud. Vanessa suggested a quiet moment, just sitting together, listening to music, letting the day's conversation settle. Ethan leaned back, feeling the comfort of her presence, and Vanessa felt a protective warmth toward him that was complicated by a new, unexpected attraction. They sat in silence, yet it was a silence filled with unspoken words, glances, and gentle movements that deepened the emotional intimacy. As the night deepened, Vanessa showed Ethan to his room again. He paused at the doorway, looking back at her with a mixture of admiration and something unspoken. "Good night, Vanessa," he said softly. "Good night, Ethan," she replied, her voice carrying the faint tremor of emotions she tried to hide. Alone, both of them reflected on the day, the laughter, the closeness, and the subtle touches that lingered in their memories. The attraction was undeniable, yet wrapped in the comfort of trust and care, creating a tension that neither wanted to confront too soon. The room was quiet, but both hearts were full of thoughts and feelings that promised a night of emotional awakening yet to come. A few days later, Emma found herself thinking again about Liam and Malik. Their messages had become a subtle, comforting presence in her routine, short jokes, casual check-ins, little glimpses of attention that made her smile even on the busiest days. She told herself repeatedly that it was harmless, that she was simply enjoying the friendliness, but she couldn't deny the growing thrill that accompanied each interaction. By late morning, Emma decided to visit the garage once more, ostensibly for a minor checkup on her car. Sophie accompanied her, sensing that her friend's energy was different, brighter, lighter, charged with anticipation. As they approached, the familiar sights and sounds welcomed her, the hum of engines, the faint smell of oil, the clatter of tools and occasional bursts of laughter. And then, as she stepped inside, both Liam and Malik were there, as if waiting for her. Liam looked up first, a smile spreading across his face that made Emma feel a rush of warmth. "Hey, Emma," he said, his tone friendly yet carrying that subtle undercurrent of amusement she had begun to recognize. Malik's eyes followed, and he leaned slightly forward, resting casually against the counter. His grin was effortless, confident, teasing in the way that made Emma's heart flutter. It wasn't just attention, it was a magnetic pull, the kind that made her forget for a moment that she was there simply to check on a car. The conversation started lightly, with Liam explaining a small maintenance detail about the engine while Malik chimed in with playful comments that made her laugh. Emma felt herself leaning slightly closer, her smile genuine and unguarded. The casual touches returned, a brief brush of hands as they exchanged a tool, a fleeting glance when one of them leaned in to clarify a point. Each small gesture carried attention, a silent acknowledgement of curiosity and interest, and Emma felt it all with surprising intensity. She realized that what she was experiencing wasn't just about flirtation, it was about being seen in a way she hadn't allowed herself to be seen for a long time. Liam's warmth was comforting, familiar, and easy. Malik's confidence was thrilling, unpredictable, and exciting. And somehow, being in the presence of both of them at the same time created a tension that was intoxicating. It wasn't dangerous or inappropriate, it was the thrill of possibility, the playful push and pull of curiosity and human connection. Sophie, standing slightly to the side, seemed to notice the subtle electricity in the air. She smiled knowingly but didn't comment, letting Emma experience the moment without interruption. The three of them continued to talk, the conversations weaving naturally between cars, work, and shared laughter. Emma found herself laughing more freely than she had in weeks, enjoying the playful teasing, the small glances, and the unspoken game that had formed effortlessly around them. Time seemed to slow in the garage, the rest of the world fading to the background. Emma noticed the way Liam's eyes crinkled when he smiled, the confident tilt of Malik's head when he made a witty remark. Every small movement, every subtle gesture, carried meaning without needing to be spoken aloud. Emma's pulse quickened, not with fear or shame, but with the simple, intoxicating thrill of being part of something unexpected and alive. Eventually, Liam stepped back to adjust a car, and Malik moved closer to Emma, offering a playful comment about her choice in vehicles. She laughed, feeling a warmth spread through her chest that had nothing to do with the engine or the garage. It was the warmth of attention, the thrill of connection, the subtle dance of emotions that she hadn't realized she had been craving. She found herself enjoying the moment fully, letting herself exist in the tension without needing to resolve it immediately. When it was finally time to leave, Emma felt a mix of relief and regret. The visit had been brief in hours but long in feeling. Liam offered a friendly nod and smile, while Malik's grin lingered, teasing yet warm. Emma waved, a small private smile on her lips, feeling the excitement of the encounter trail behind her like a soft, comforting shadow. She climbed into her car, Sophie already settled in the passenger seat, and took a deep breath as the engine hummed to life. Driving away, Emma reflected on the morning. The interactions had been innocent, the touches fleeting, the gestures subtle, but the emotional impact had been profound. She realized that she was drawn not to the physical, but to the playfulness, the attention, the thrill of curiosity. She felt alive in a way that routine and responsibility rarely allowed, and she understood that this spark, small and delicate though it was something she wanted to nurture, explore, and savor. Later, as Emma settled into her afternoon tasks, her phone buzzed again. A message from Liam: "Hope your day is going as smoothly as your car." Immediately after, Malik's message arrived: "Can't wait to see you again. Maybe next time we'll take that test drive you joked about." Emma smiled, feeling the same rush of warmth and curiosity she had experienced in the garage. She realized that the thrill of these interactions didn't need to be rushed or resolved. It could exist in the in-between moments, in the playful messages, in the subtle tension of anticipation. That evening, as Emma reflected quietly, she felt a sense of contentment she hadn't expected. The world was ordinary and structured around her, but the spark of excitement, the subtle thrill of human connection, had made it extraordinary. She didn't know what would happen next with Liam or Malik, and perhaps that was part of the charm. The uncertainty, the playful tension, and the gentle curiosity made life feel alive in a way that deadlines, meetings, and responsibilities rarely could. And as she drifted to sleep that night, Emma allowed herself to savor the thought, a private smile playing on her lips. Sometimes, curiosity led to unexpected journeys, and some sparks, no matter how small or fleeting, were worth following.